Yo, what is up everybody? Popo here bringing you guys a new video, and today we're going to be talking about analyzing games. It's something that's not really talked about too much in the VGC community specifically, and I think it's a really important aspect of improving your gameplay as a whole. So we're going to talk about how to and why you should be, analyzing your games. With the removal of Versus Recorder though, it has made it a lot harder. But if you don't have an Elgato or a way to save your game footage, you can also use Showdown. And Showdown, you can rewatch your replays, just upload them, or you can save them to your desktop so you can watch them later. That is a fantastic way to help you analyze your games. But there's another feature you can use. You could use the save feature on the Switch. I think it saves 5 minutes of gameplay when you hold the share button. I could be wrong on how long it is, but make sure you test it, and I guess you can do it in parts and analyze it that way. But yeah, why should you analyze your game? So analyzing your games allows you to see why you won a game or why you lost the game, but to be more specific, how you played in those games. And just because you won a game doesn't mean you played well in those games. That's going to be the first game we show here. And just because you played well in a game doesn't mean you can't lose. I don't have an example of that. But it just goes to show you that it's not black and white. I play well, I'm going to win. Because that's not exactly how it functions. Sometimes even a little bit of a lead change could have led to that victory. It's all about being consistent, and this helps you with that consistency towards becoming a better player as a whole. So if you do want to do better, maybe you're not hitting Master Ball and Ladder or something like that, this could be a really good way for you to help reach those goals. Yeah, but without further ado, let's get into these games. So the team that I have been using here is Murkrow, Dachshund, Goldango, Armorogue, Garganacl, and Garchomp. I'm really enjoying this team, and we're facing up against a Goldango, a Garchomp, a Maushold, a Annihilate, a Murkrow, and Hydreigon. And my team is pretty bad against Hydreigon. So I gotta figure out a way to get around that. I feel like I want to match the speed tiers. I think he's gonna go Murkrow with Hydreigon here, and I gotta kind of counteract with that. But I go with the Murkrow and the Garchomp, and I think it's an okay lead. I think it's kind of a predictable lead, and that could be an issue. You gotta kind of think of that too. You gotta kind of think of what your opponent thinks you're gonna lead against their team, because they've probably played this matchup with the Murkrow Garchomp more than you've played against the Murkrow Hydreigon, right? Because they're kind of using that team, and you don't know, right? So they do go with the Murkrow Hydreigon just like I had anticipated, and I go with my pair of Murkrow Garchomp. And my thought process here, which is probably not the correct thought process, was go Icy Wind so I can stagger the Tailwinds, which is fine. That is fine. But the issue becomes if he has Haze, and this is something I didn't think about in time, and this is why we're analyzing. If he has Haze, I just lose next turn, right? Because he can Haze, and then he can Draco Meteor my Garchomp, so he has no speed loss, right? So that's where my mind should be, but that's not where my mind is. It's just stagger those Tailwinds. So he does get Tailwind off, and surprisingly, he does not target the Garchomp, and he actually goes into the Murkrow, and that puts us down on our focus dash. I know we couldn't die here unless he double targeted. If he did that, he just won the game straight out anyways, but it's very unlikely. And we're gonna get off this Icy Wind here, and it's gonna do actually some pretty decent damage, especially that Murkrow, making me think maybe it's Eviolite, but maybe not invested. I don't know. So now is my time to go with the Tailwind. I actually contemplated maybe not going for the Tailwind and switching out the Murkrow, but I don't think that's the right decision either. In this situation, I think the best decision I can do is just to set up Tailwind and go for the Dragon Claw once again without thinking about Haze. If he clicks Haze here, the game is GG. So he does go for the max. He goes into Steel. I figured that he would either Terra Steel here, he would just go for a Draco Meteor and just let Hydreigon drop, or he's going to switch into something like the Goldango or the Annihilate. But he actually does go for the Steel Terra, and I get off the Tailwind, so that means he doesn't go for Haze. Once again, I wasn't even thinking about Haze, so I was like, okay, is he just going to double up Garchomp here? and he goes Draco Meteor. And this is another thing that's really good for analyzing what items did my opponent bring. With how much damage this thing did, I think this is choice specs. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is choice specs, because this is a bulky Garchomp. And he does click Foul Play. I'm like, oh great, but he goes into the Murkrow, and this is the best thing that could have happened for me, because now this gives me a free switch into my Armarouge, which is a big counter to this Hydreigon at the moment. And I just want to make sure I'm making the right play. I thought about going into the Murkrow so he couldn't get Tailwind later, because he's -4, but I'm glad I didn't, because he did go with the Haze this turn, and I was like, oh yeah, Haze. I'm running Haze. Why didn't I think that he could just Haze? He should have Hazed last turn, but he didn't, and since we do have that Choice Scarf, we're faster, so we're going to take out the Hydreigon, but he leaves the Murkrow. And that's a little bit dangerous, because the Murkrow can kind of pressure us later on with setting up Tailwind, but we went Dragon Claw into it. So my Murkrow will probably die at this range to this Dragon Claw, but I believe this is full HP, Eviolite, max defense Murkrow, just because of how much, like, that did just about the same amount of damage that I did with the Icy Wind earlier. So that's what makes me think that. So he brings in Garchomp here, and I thought about for a second, and this is where Terra becomes a super important thing. He's already used his Terra, so I know he can't Terra either of these Pokemon, so they're always going to be weak to the types that they're weak to now. What's good about that is that I can go for attacks safely that would be super effective without having to worry about that backlash. What's bad about it is that he still has a Garchomp. So I need to protect my Garchomp, and I need to kill this Murkrow so he can't get Tailwind next turn, because remember, we staggered. Next turn, this is the last turn of his Trick Room, so my guess is he's going to go Earthquake. On my side, I want to go with Terra Grass on my Armarouge, but then I remember I have Flying Terra in the back with my Goldango, which is a lot better. Plus, I'm going to be -2 defense with the Armarouge, so he's not going to be able to take another hit. And in my mind, he's not going to go Earthquake here because he just switched. So I'm like, okay, he's going to Dragon Claw into Garchomp. This is really good. And he goes with Goldango, so I'm like, perfect. Unless this thing is Focus Sash, we're going to get a kill straight up on this Goldango here. And we keep our Armarouge for another turn. And he can't get up Tailwind if this is Focus Sash. But it's not. It actually goes down straight up. So Goldango goes down. We go to the -2. We get our Protect on our Garchomp. And I'm like, okay, this is a pretty decent position here. I think we're doing okay. But he goes for this Earthquake, and it does kill the Armarouge. No surprise there. But he would have killed his own Goldango just to kill his Armarouge. Maybe he wasn't expecting me to go for the Protect, but his Tailwind is going to go out, and he's going to bring back in the Murkrow. So here, in my mind, 100% of the time, he goes Earthquake, Tailwind, right? That way we're matching speeds. My Garchomp is slower. He doesn't know my Garchomp is slow, but he knows that Earthquake will kill here, and it will kill Goldango if he gets it off. So my play here is to Terra and go Dazzling Gleam, as it kills the Murkrow, guaranteed, because we saw how much that Icy Wind did, and it's going to do a lot to the Garchomp. So that is my play. I don't know what his other moves are. He's only got Earthquake as far as I know. So I was very surprised when I saw his next play, which was, yeah, there goes my Terra. And we go for the Double Protect, which we miss, but this gives us decent information. And he actually goes for Protect. We were actually faster than this Garchomp, but he didn't have Tailwind. That's right, brain. He did not have Tailwind. So he sets up Tailwind, so he's most likely faster now. But we went with that Dazzling Gleam. Why did he Protect? Earthquake was the play. He would have killed my Garchomp. It would have been GG. But instead, we're going to be able to get this off. That Murkrow is going to go down. And now he has to deal with Garchomp and a flying Goldango. And he cannot use Earthquake to kill the Goldango. The Goldango should be able to kill him too. But he has the Tailwind advantage now. So what's he going to go with? He actually goes with Rock Slide. And that does 68 damage to my Goldango. Now, this is very important, because if he would have Earthquaked last turn, he probably would have won, because that doesn't even do 50% on that Shadow Ball. I don't know how much the Dazzling Gleam would have done, but my Garchomp would have been dead, and that Rock Slide would have been more potent. and would have definitely been a 2-shot. But instead, we're able to take the victory. But we played terribly bad, and we could see that looking back at those games, right? We end up with a Goldango, whereas I feel like if we would have led differently, or even went with a whole different set, you know, brought the, like, Hydreigon is weak to the Dachsbun, right? It can't really do too much to it. It does have the Flash Cannon and the Steel typing, but we can also Steel Terra. So I think that would have been the better play. Just go for the Lava Plume plus the Body Press onto the Hydreigon. I think that's the play all day long. But it's kind of hard to say because he could do so many different things. The Hydreigon is so potent. So we did not play well. We could have definitely played better, but we do get the victory. Going into the second game, it's a little bit more interesting. As you can see, he has a Trick Room heavy team. We see that he has both Sylveon and Torkoal. He has a Rangaroo. He has the Indeedee, the Annihilate, and the Garchomp. So my thought process here is that he's going to go Indeedee, a Rangaroo to confirm the Trick Room setup. And then he's going to go out to Torkoal, because this has happened a lot. I've seen a lot of players doing this against me. They don't know what Dachshound does or whatever. Dachsbun, sorry. So they just make the wrong call and go with Torkoal. But I usually don't see them with the Sylveon. So now I'm like, well, does he go with the Sylveon? And I'm trying to base my team off of that. So I go for the Aromarogue, and I go for the Dachsbun, thinking he's going to go with the Indeedee. And I got the Garganacl and the Goldango in the back. So we are ready for Indeedee or Rangaroo. At this point, we wouldn't care if he got the Trick Room set up as much, but he goes with the Annihilate. And here's where the issue begins. The Annihilate is faster and just instantly kills the Aromarogue, but it can't hurt. It cannot hurt the Goldango. So what I do is I switch into that Goldango and I go for Protect. And I think that's the biggest mistake I made. The play was definitely Body Press into the Oranguru to do some damage to it. Oranguru is pretty bulky, but usually they go Special Defense Bulk. So I should just assume that Special Defense Bulk until I see how bulky it is physically. And yep, so we get that out and we go for this Protect, and we lost this game literally on turn 1. As he does go for Final Gambit, so we're happy about that. Final Gambit Trick Room, but we got 0 damage off on either of these Pokemon, which is just a failed position by me. So I know he's stuck into the Final Gambit, so he's gonna obviously do it to the Dachsbun, right? But he goes Taunt, so he does nothing this turn, right? He taunts, it doesn't work on Goldango. We go Crunch. This should have once again been Body Press into a Rangaroo, which I think combined would have did 50, proccing his Berry, because he is Berry, because I think the Shadow Ball kills anyways. So, yeah, that was probably a really, really bad play, but Goldango does get the kill with the Shadow Ball. And he's going to go out with Sylveon. So now here is where mistake number 2 comes. I Protect. Okay, fine. That's not bad. That's not bad. But then I'm indecisive here, and I'm like, well, I don't want Dachsbun to die, because Dachsbun kills his Torkoal if he has Torkoal in the back. So I really don't want it to die, but I'm going to protect Goldango, and I'm going to go with Armorogue. Now, this was a huge mistake. I should just let Dachsbun die, because in hindsight, Dachsbun doesn't do much that the Armorogue doesn't already do, right? He can't be hit by fire attacks. He is strong against, you know, both of these Pokemon that are out right now, so he's the better Pokemon to keep. And I'm like, okay, maybe he dies now with this +1, and he lives on 7. And this is the bad part, because I needed Garganacl to come in this turn. If Garganacl comes in this turn, then I can pressure with Goldango, but I couldn't get him in. So now I got to switch out Goldango, because Goldango is just dead here. And now I'm going to lose Armorogue and Dachsbun. So I lose both of the Pokemon that I could have kept. So, yeah, it was just a rough time for me. And that's what's important about switching and making sure you're going out to the right Pokemon, assessing your threats, and seeing which Pokemon need to be the ones that are being kept rather than the ones that are being fainted. And here, that's what it came down to, was the wrong Pokemon got fainted here, where I could have kept the Armorogue and been in a very good situation with 3 Pokemon still, with two turns of Trick Room, doing massive damage to this Sylveon with this Goldango. But I go for, and here's mistake. Here's my next mistake. Okay, this is the last turn of Trick Room. I checked Trick Room turns. 1 turn left. I know he has to go aggressive here, but for some reason, I click double protect instead of wide guard plus make it rain. If I go wide guard, make it rain, I think I can still win this game. It's going to be really hard because I have no way to reset Goldango, but I at least give myself an opportunity. But that's not what I do. That's not what I do. I go for the double protect. He does go for the double hyper voice, so that would have easily been blocked. And now that Trick Room's not here, I'm like, well, he just goes for protect, right? He just can protect Sylveon, and I just lose. He's going to set up the Trick Room again, and I literally just lose, and he does that exact thing. He goes for the protect, and yeah, we go for the make it rain, which is going to make us -1, which is a position we don't want to be in. So we do get that off, and it does about half, and this is where it becomes important, because we might have been able to kill this Oranguru and have the Armor Oak still in the back if we would have just body pressed it twice. Yes, he has the berry, but we could have potentially procced that berry. And yeah, so he's gonna gain those 20% life, 25% life back, and he's gonna set up the Trick Room. And now we are in the same position that we were in before, except we're -1 attack. The Salt Cure is gonna do some damage, and that's why I think it would have mattered, because with the Make It Rain, the 2 body presses, and the Salt Cure, I think he would have went down. So it would have been 2 versus 3 at the end, and then we would have just had to focus on Sylveon. But now we go for the wide guard, and we can't really go for the Make It Rain here because we are -1. It's still an option. It's still going to do a lot, and the crit matters. But what I want to do is I want to go Shadow Ball in order to try to lower the special defense of the Sylveon. My thought process is that it has Terra Blast Fairy, it has maybe Quick Attack, and it has Hyper Voice. And I know his Oranguru is not doing anything, and his Torkoal probably just has Eruption, Heat Wave, maybe Solar Beam. So I think my play is go Wide Guard and then go into another Shadow. I think I go Shadow Ball, right? Yeah, I go Shadow Ball. I don't know why. I should have went Make It Rain because Garganacl beats Torkoal at the end. But no, he has Fire Blast. This Madman, not even a Flamethrower. He just has straight up Fire Blast. He could miss that 30% of the time. He don't care. I couldn't predict for that. And he has Hyper Beam, so he is able to go for those single targets. And that's pretty much going to be GG there. I can't come back. I only have a Garganacl. He has a Fairy type Hyper Beam. I can't protect. There's nothing I can do. I just kind of want to see how much this, just in case I was fighting this team again, and he has the Earth Power. If I was fighting this team again, I want to see how much this Salt Cure does. And after watching this, I think that this Torkoal is actually Assault Vested, and that's why it has Fire Blast. And Earth Power is pretty common, but Fire Blast isn't really that common. I've literally have never seen it ever, like literally ever. And yeah, we just go down there. Turn 1 kind of decided what was going to happen. My leads were so bad, and now I know when I face this team, they're probably going to go with that lead again. Maybe we'll go with something a little bit different and able to change that up. But who knows, right? Who knows? But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope this helped you guys kind of see how to analyze your videos. Make sure you're analyzing your leads. You want to see what plays could have been better. Maybe think of what your opponent could have had. See what items your opponent could have had. Just kind of have that thought process as you're going through these games, because sometimes you hit some unexpected things and you just straight up lose a game because of it. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys rate, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you guys on the next one.